Hi guys, I hope you're all well. I'm just out for a stroll in the woods, and I don't know, I've been thinking about this topic for a couple days, and it came up in a live stream yesterday, and it's basically the issue of condemnation. So I know that, if you're watching this, you're more than likely saved, and you might still be worried and wondering, sorry about the wind, just worrying about all those who aren't, because up until the moment that you were, you're pretty much a lost cause if you're anything like me. And I just want to say that up until that moment, you didn't really want it. Know what I mean by that? I mean that up until that moment, you were fleeing from something, right? You're fleeing from the reality of what you are, which is a sinner, and you were fleeing from the reality of God, right? So if you're struggling with this thought of, just the injustice of how things are going to turn out, right? Please try and keep that in mind, that even up until the very end of all of this, some people will still deny God. They still won't ever admit the truth. And as much as we want to think that, oh well, if they only knew this, or if only they were aware of that, that's not quite true. Because just imagine the scenario, right, where you take your loved ones and you finally just sit them down and you go through everything you wanted to. It's really pretty here. Everything you wanted to tell them, about what's going on in the world right now, and just the truth and all the lies that are being told, essentially. If you went through every single detail and backed everything with reputable sources, and just had a very, very convincing case, it's quite possible that a small percentage of people would be convinced, because some people are saved that way, through the intellectual route. But think of why the rest of the 95% still can't agree on the truth. Why will they fight tooth and nail to deny what's right in front of them? Why are we seeing what's happening? Or rather, why are we seeing what we are seeing today with people just, maybe I'll go into the woods section, with people just flat out denying the obvious. The really, really, really obvious. And if you're like me and maybe have a background in academics and politics specifically, maybe you'll have better language for what's going on. But even without any of that, it's quite obvious just to anyone who's remotely awake and not completely asleep during these times that something really, really, really strange and odd is going on. And yet, what, most people just can't see it? Yeah, I don't buy that. And I don't buy that if you just hammer it into them, if you just convince them that you're actually on the right side, or that, sadly they're they're on the losing side, if we can put it that way, then they'll finally understand and make the right decision. That's just not the right. It's not the correct paradigm, guys. Like, it's not about having all the information, because none of us do. Like, none of us who have questions and suspicions and just doubts about what's going on right now have all the answers. That's not it. It's the fact that we actually dare to question, and that it's almost like we're able to see. So really, I just want to, the point I want to get across in this video is that ultimately everything is in God's hands. Ultimately, He has created your life and your path, and He's seeing the end from the beginning, right? So I really wouldn't stress too much about trying to save everyone and, just try to lift the veil off of everyone's eyes, because in the end, you weren't able to do that for yourself. Like, you needed the divine intervention. So what makes you think that it will be easy or even possible to do that for others? Now, am I saying stop spreading the gospel and stop speaking the truth? Absolutely not. I'm just saying, please have reasonable expectations, because this isn't fully natural what's going on. If you've noticed, people are, figuratively but almost quite literally blinded. It really is like a veil has been placed over some people's eyes, and it might freak you out, like if these are your friends or your family, and like, I'm right there with you. It's quite disconcerting, but please understand that burden is not yours to bear. I think I'm walking in the wrong direction. Ultimately, things are kind of the way they are. Like, people would much rather believe a convenient lie than an inconvenient truth. As cheesy as it sounds, it's just the truth, isn't it? That the convenience of this lie, that no, we should just trust the officials and the experts, and nothing's actually going on, and if we just hunker down, then maybe this time things will work out the way they promised they would. That whole lie. And yes, of course, they're, on a certain level, they know they're lying to themselves, because it hasn't happened yet, right? So there is some self-denial there, and there is an understanding of the self-denial as well, but it's almost like the lie is worth way, way, way more than the truth, because the truth means giving up everything, right? When we come to know God, it really is like we lay everything down and we pick up our cross. And to many people, that is not something they ever want to hear. They just do not. I mean, just as I did not ever want to pick up their cross. So don't think that something is terribly wrong because everyone around you doesn't understand what you're seeing. That's not it, right? You're seeing what you're seeing because by grace you were saved. I mean, that's it, right? Some people don't want to be saved. Some people even know the gospel and pretend they're saved, but will never ever actually get saved because that's the last thing they want to do, to actually serve God. So yeah, please don't fixate on this. Please don't try and shake people awake and yell to them and until they hear what you have to say. No, they don't want to hear. You just say what you need to say whenever it's laid on your heart by the Holy Spirit, and move on, because that's all you can do. All right, thanks for listening. Bye.